Hey there. Wow. Definitely technical difficulty. Sorry about that. Hopefully you're not being confused by what's going on. I'm trying to get this positioned. So tonight what we want to talk about is something that we just started doing, and hopefully it interests you. But you know, we're always looking in our brain health, of course, because the time goes on as we become a little more seasoned. Reason for the aging process, or a better word than the aging process, I like that, seasoned, right? So we know that things, we're all looking for that edge. There's so many times people are saying, hey, listen, I'm trying to keep up with the young people as far as being sharp, being on the ball, being able to learn, being able to do tasks quite readily. And what we did is we came across this company. It's called Brain Span. So a brain span is actually something that tests you. Now, it tests you in two different ways. One test is a blood spot. So the blood spot is where you prick your own finger. There's a kit that this comes with, and it's called the Brain Span Cell Health Assessment. The health of your cells dictate the health of your entire brain and body. I'm pretty jazzed about this. I did this myself because I wanted to see how my body's functioning. I wanted to see what's going on because some of you know, Dr. Leonard and myself, we do intermittent fasting. And what we do is we fast basically from nighttime until noon the next day. We do that Monday through, not Monday through, we do that Wednesday through Sunday. And our fasting, we do more of an extended fasting from Sunday night till Tuesday afternoon and sometimes Tuesday evening. There's a good book on that, and I'll put the links on that, why fasting is so good for us, because it allows our bodies to regenerate, repair, and restore. It increases the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cells of our body. And there's 10 trillion cells in our body, so we want those cells to be operating, optimally, functioning really well, which means increased energy, which means mental clarity, which means that we're really doing well health-wise. It's also been utilized as basically a fight against cancer for those people that are battling any type of chronic disease. This Brian, I think his first name is Brian Fung. He's out of Canada. He's an MD, and he's written a good book on the fasting and why it is so important that we do this, especially if we have any health issue going on with it, or if we have a problem with weight management. Maybe for some that's a big issue. But I always say, being thin doesn't necessarily mean you're healthy. It just means you're thin. Big deal. But we want to be, of course, thin and healthy, because research has shown that if we are on the thinner side, there is an increase in longevity. Just to give you a story, my father-in-law had lung cancer, and the doctors couldn't understand why he was doing so well, and he ended up having lung cancer like 2 or 3 times. And I knew what was going on. Here, my father-in-law only ate 1 meal a day. That's all he ate. And secondly, what he did is he walked, living in Laguna Beach, he walked about 2 to 3 hours every single day. So we know exercise is real critical as well. We know that, this fasting aspect is really good as far as important for the health of our bodies, as far as restoring the health and, again, getting the mitochondria numbers up there. But also what fasting does is it allows the body to take the energy, which of course is normally in digestion, and now expend it on the repair process, because the energy that we expend digesting is the greatest amount of energy that, of course, the body and the brain is going to expend. So this is what we have. Just to give you, I'm going to read this a little bit. It's important for those people for attention, for memory, for anxiety and stress. It's also good for chronic nerve pain and inflammation. As far as his brain span, this is what we're talking about: weight management, metabolism, soft tissue, musculoskeletal injuries. Now, I'm going to bend down and go on the live event just for a second, but when I did this, and I did this several weeks back because we were kind of made aware of this test, and it's based on the omega-3s. Omega-3s and omega-6s and 9s, you might have heard of that. That's the fish oils. And the oils are real important for our brain health, but they're important for bone health. They're important for immunity. So many different things as far as keeping the blood thin, keeping it so that it's flowing properly, so that the red blood cells aren't clumping. That's important. We also know that eating good quality fats is not one that makes us fat. It's not that at all. But also, secondly, we also know that eating good quality healthy fats actually increases our metabolism. And again, what are the good healthy fats? What we're talking about is like avocado oils. We're talking about eggs, the whole egg, not just, the white or the yolk, but the whole egg. We're talking about olive oils. We're talking about fermented foods. Those are all key things for our health and to keep us young, of course, which, I'm definitely interested. I'm into that. So when I ran the test and doing everything that I did, I still know that I need to work on things because research is stating that 70% of all the fish oils are rancid. What does that mean? They're rotten. They're not good. And we wouldn't know that, but that's why we only carry certain products, because of the fact that we know that our products, they're professional products. The big difference with professional products is that they have to go through certain standards. They have to meet certain standards. That being said, is that when a company, whatever nutrition company is going for a product, they pretty much have certain groups, the wholesaler that is providing the products for many, many companies. So when that wholesaler is trying to go to this company, and the professional brands have their own labs, so they're going to do their own testing to see if the quality meets up to the standards. So if that quality of, let's say, the fish oil or whatever it being doesn't meet up to the standard, there, of course, the wholesaler is going to sell to someone else. And that's where the retail nutrition manufacturers come in place, because it's all about the bottom dollar. It's not necessarily about the quality control. So that is why we only carry professional standards, because we know that they are FDA approved, that they have to have certain certification standards to meet their issues with dealing with, the big government agencies. So what we have here is that this measured multiple things. This brain span, one had measured my omega-3 index. And I was surprised because my omega-3 index, and they rated from like 0% to a 12 plus. And I don't know if you can see here, but in this case, I was only 6.4. So red is bad, of course. Yellow is in that medium state. And green is where we really want to be. And so out of that, I was only 6.4. So that concerned me. And I go, what the heck is going on? Here I, use good oils like olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, and those type of things. But I had been taking a different fish oil and not doing the one I should be doing. That's what I learned. So when they talk about this, the recommendations were, of course, eat more fish, and we want to eat more fish, but then we think about, okay, what kind of fish do we want to eat? Well, the herring is a good fish because that's got high, good fish oils. Sardines, and I know for a lot of people, go sardines, oh my gosh, I hate that. Or salmon, salmon's good. So they talk about eating this at least 5 times a week or taking the supplements. But the supplements, what we need to do with the fish oils is that the research has shown that we need a combined 1,500 milligrams of EPA and DHA. So when we talk about EPA is what affects our hypothalamus. So hypothalamus, of course, is that part of the brain that communicates to the pituitary. The pituitary then is communicating to the different glands and organs, and those are, hormones, a lot of hormones. So that's real critical. So the 1,500 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA. So what am I doing now? I'm changing over to that supplement, and then I think the supplement is 1,800 combined, 18 or 1,900 milligrams combined of EPA and DHA. EPA, important for the hypothalamus. DHA is important for the hippocampus, which is part of the brain, which is in the short and long-term memory. So we all need to boost there. Now, when I got to the next part, there's multiple things here. Cell inflammation. I was kind of astonished. But you know what? I mean, I do have some damage from playing tennis. I injured my hip, tore the labrum, and I got some, little joint issues there, and I got a knee issue from playing tennis as well. Thank you, tennis. Never play on hard courts. That's a little, never do that. If you got kids that are interested in playing tennis, get them on clay, get them on more of the synthetic courts, not the hard courts. I think that's a big mistake that we do here in the United States, is get them playing on the hard courts. And the shearing effect of tennis is huge. So cell inflammation was really high, or really, as we want to look at it, my score is a 12.1. It's 12-to-1 ratio, excuse me. See here, I was giving you scores. But it's a 12-to-1 ratio where it should be a 1-to-1 ratio, which is optimal. And so in order to do this, nutritional supplements, like turmeric, which I do take. And again, I don't take it all the time, so I'm going to have to take it every day. Processed foods, I hardly eat any processed foods, of course, not perfect, so occasionally I eat them, but that's really maybe once or twice a week, maybe. And so that tells me that might be a little too much. Grass-fed meat, which I do buy. Grass-fed meat is high in the good omegas. And then replace the oils. Make sure you're not, using those bad oils. And when I go to restaurants now, I ask them what oils they're cooking in. And it's kind of interesting because a lot of these places are cooking in soybean oil, which is horrible, or they're cooking in, these high vegetable oils. So the vegetable oils are, become a really polyunsaturated fat that is no good for you. So those are the type of fats that are really bad for our bodies. So we want the good oils, we want the good fats in our body that are really healthy. Good news is, I do have good news, believe it or not, but the memory capacity was good. So out of 0 to 7 plus, my range was a 6.5. So I was really happy about that because I had plenty of bad news on that, but I don't look at it as bad news. I look at it, okay, what can I improve upon? Because it's good to know. It's good to know where we are because now I have a baseline as far as where I need to be. Cognitive flexibility, because not only you do this blood spot, but they send you to the website where you actually take this test online. And it's a test and it's all about the brain function and combining that. Cognitive flexibility, that was really good. I was, my score going to 0, 7 plus, I was an 8. So I was really happy about that. Processing speed, again, 0 to 7 plus, I was at a 6. So that was pretty good there too, if you could see that. That was in the green there. So I was happy about that. And that was it. So there was different markers in here. How many markers did I make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 markers. 7 markers. So this is interesting because this has actually been promoted by a lot of big companies. A lot of big corporations are now doing this. They're offering this to their employees. So like Boeing, and I know a few other ones are really into this. But the aging process, if you look at here on this right here, let me go ahead and move to the side, but it talks about, whatever our longevity of life. We don't know how long we're going to live. But the reality is, why not have good quality of life? Why not have an intact brain? Why not have a good immune system? It's amazing today how many people have allergies, asthma, breathing issues, God forbid. And then we get into the cancers, and 1 out of 2 men will have some form of cancer, and 1 out of 3 women will have some form of cancer. And we know it's all really lifestyle, and it's all about, what we put in our bodies, and unfortunately, if we're eating a lot, we're eating a lot of processed food that is no good for you. So the other thing is that we have this, where the aging process, we have more of what we call accelerated in red right here. And then we have the normal range, and then we have optimal aging, which is really good. So I'm kind of in the mid-upper, even though I got some things to work on. I'm still in the middle zone. I'd like to be in the green zone because, it's kind of nice to know what's happening with the body so that we can address those. And we can address everything, lifestyle as well as nutritional. So I know that people want to know what we eat. Like I mentioned, just to recap everything, we try to do fasting. We try to do intermittent fasting. Again, the book, Brian Fung, it's all about fasting. He's an MD, and he's dealt with these people with chronic diseases like diabetes. Along with diabetes, and a patient was just telling me today, a good friend of his ended up having an amputation of his foot. So below the knee, they amputated him because what? Because of the diabetes, because diabetes is really inflammatory. And of course, along with that, we're going to have diminished blood flow. That's a horrible thing. And then on top of that, you end up with kidney disease, which then you undergo, the deal with having to go to through dialysis, God forbid. So that's something that we have to think about. We consume way too much sugar. They figure that we consume in excess of 200 pounds of sugar per year. At one time, we were consuming less than 20 pounds. It was like sugar was like gold. Gold is, of course, a valuable commodity. Well, that's what sugar was in the old days, but now it's just something that's being abused excessively by all of us. So we really need to back off. Remember, there's good options out there. There is the xylitol, Xylitol. There's erythritol. I'm not as big of a fan of erythritol because it ultimately comes from corn. Xylitol comes from a tree. I think of trees are really good. There's been a lot of good products coming from the tree. And then there's stevia, which is the herb. So you have some different options that won't raise your blood sugar much. Also, test your blood sugar. See what's going on. Because if we test and monitor our blood sugar, we can really make sure that we change things around. We can reduce inflammation. So I'm going to go test my blood sugar right now and check and see what it is, because I haven't eaten since last night at about 7 o'clock, and I think it's almost 6 or 6:15 now. So hopefully you like this bit of information. We are doing a special on this brain span. Again, it's a combination of the blood spot as well as taking the test online. And it's kind of a fun thing to do. If you're into games, it kind of reminds me like a game. So with that, then comes the report. This is 149 right now. We have like 4 or 5 kits left. After that, it's going to go up to 199. So this is a little thing that we're getting into that I like, I enjoy. I think it's really great. If you're trying to improve your reaction time, your capacity, your attention, and do things like that, this is a great opportunity. So if you enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up, please. If you'd like to hear anything else, please go ahead. Let us know what you want to hear, what you like to do. As far as we're talking more and more, as more research comes around, we're going to then go ahead and give you that research and let you know and keep you up to date. So have a great evening. See you soon.